I'm sharing the broadcast on my sharing the broadcast, and then trying to pull up the screen where I can look at your comments. Shut down Bandicam. We're talking about Aaron Hernandez tonight and a possible case of conspiracy with regard to Hernandez. Join me live and leave comments for response. I'm going to be trying to do this for an hour every night at 11 p.m. Okay. Now I just need to bring up a window. That going on. Okay. And a possible. Okay. Aaron Hernandez. Let me just kick it right off with the thing here, is that I think there is some sort of case of conspiracy here, just on the basis of it being mainstream news and the coinciding with a very similar, racially similar situation. And I'm just going to share the screen share, full screen. And why do I think that? Okay, I'll show you. The family of Odin Lloyd. First, let me say Odin Lloyd has a weird name. Odin is like the King Norse god, basically. And if you're a black family and you're naming your son Odin, it's kind of odd. But it's also kind of odd, you know, just the name itself is a little weird. The family got interviewed, and they just don't seem very sad. Maybe I have a video of that. We'll do that later, but I mean, just there's some very strange things here. And then when you look at oh boy, fun fact is that my graduating ceremony at my college, I guess you're going to figure that out anyway, it's the University of Florida. He was there, and everybody was just absolutely ecstatic about him being there, because it was such a famous team. But just look at him. He's absolutely in love with the image he's getting. He's happy. I mean, you know, you just got done making millions of dollars every year. I mean, you have the most ultimate form of freedom, and suddenly that's being taken from you, and this is your reaction, is to actually, you know, find yourself happy. So I did some facial analysis, basically, try to figure out what's going on behind the scenes here. You know, first off, a lot of people are going to be like, why is this a conspiracy? Why is it a conspiracy? Let me go ahead and start with, I don't know. But I do know that there's a Paula Deen controversy. There's the Zimmerman Trayvon thing that's going out right now. There's the indication that the Woolwich attack might be a psyop. So what could be the case is that there is, I mean, there's almost sort of like, I'll be honest with you, some sort of white nationalist conspiracy going on right now, maybe in an attempt to portray the conspiracy as being like Nazis are behind everything or something. So, you know, or maybe, I don't know. It's just really odd to me that they would run the psyop. So, you know, I mean, here he is. The whole reason he has a shirt like this is that they cuffed him while he was shirtless, and then they pulled a shirt over him. You know, it's just, and then he looks so happy he's being arrested, you know. But anyway, I have some facial analyses of him, and here's the left side. There's the right side. So the left side is, you know, assuming he's right-handed, I don't know, I haven't checked yet. I don't really want to put that much effort that I check in what sort of hand he has, but let's just assume he's right-handed. His left side, he's not that sap. I mean, his whole life got thrown away. He could be facing the death penalty. I mean, you know, you go from being a millionaire with a mansion to being arrested, and this is your reaction. You know what I'm saying? And then here's his right side. He's actually trying, like that's him, who he is. And you look at the right side, and he's trying to look like he's upset. He's trying to look like he's a criminal. And once again, left side, right side, left side, right side, left side. Look at that. Just totally nonchalant, totally happy. I mean, it's just crazy. It's like they're recruiting him or something. Right side. That's how he's trying to look. He's trying to look like he's upset. Left side, he's totally freaking chill and happy. Right side, he's not even remotely upset. Left side, right side. That's a pretty good one. Let me zoom in. Look at that. Hold on. Yeah, nice and slow. Okay. Left side, look at that. He is smiling. He is smiling. He thinks he's hot. He is smiling. Right side. Oh, poor me. My life is ruined. I'm such a hardcore criminal. You know, does this coincide with Tim Tebow coming over to the Patriots? Does this coincide with whatever we need to look into sort of Aaron Hernandez's family, his history? You know, really weird. Really weird. Left side. You know, totally like a little kid or something. Right side. Trying to look like he's upset. Here he is being arrested shirtless, trying to pose for a nice shot inside the cop car. Okay. You know what I mean? I don't know. Does anyone else see this? Think it's kind of fishy? What are the implications? I don't know. I'm back. Alright, looks like I got a comment. Let's see if I do. No. No. Alright, so what else is new that I can talk about before we hit midnight? Why don't we just go down forums? Oh yeah, the Aurora. They destroyed. Look, it's all over the news today. Paula Deen saying the N-word. But she said it 30 years ago. And now everybody's going like, I don't know. It's like they're attacking her. And now they're going to be like, oh, wait a minute, that was 30 years ago. White people aren't racist. I don't know, they're just drumming up racism right now. All of these racial subjects start coming up. What they may be doing is they have to start bringing up race before, say, an impeachment of Obama. Or maybe they're trying to set up race to be, you know, and then they they put this girl on the news, this witness for the Trayvon case, almost like, you know, because I think the whole Trayvon case was staged, basically. And they put this girl on here. You guys have got to see this picture of Trayvon's dad or the uncle who is being partaking in this Masonic thing. You have to understand, like, the original thing was that PSYOP was supposed to result, and I already know that the FBI in Orlando is pretty fishy. Something recently with the Boston bombing happened, oh yeah, in Orlando. And then this thing happened in Orlando, and one of the persons, one of the groups that I know is behind the cover up in Aurora is operating out of Orlando. Let me go into screen share and let me show you. That's Trayvon's. That could be his dad, but that might be the brother. I think the picture I saw was the brother walking down the carpet, but this might be Trayvon's dad right here. And now see, the Masons have two groups. They've got the white ones and the black ones, because they have this whole white-black thing, where they believe in, controlling, playing both sides off of each other, order out of chaos, whatever. And they recruit these people right out of the military or however they want to, and that's what Trayvon's coming from. And so his family was in there. They're all fake crying and stuff. In the screen share. Oh wait. Okay, maybe that'll do it. Oh yay! All right. Okay, that's Trayvon's dad right there. Okay. All right, so the whole Trayvon thing was an entirely controlled event with basically Trayvon is they're attacking Castle Law. They were attacking Castle Law because Florida, even though it has weird like restrictions on pepper spray, like on electric tasers and stuff like that, the thing is that they have kind of relaxed gun laws in terms of like justification. So somebody gets on a threat continuum of any sort in any degree to which that would cause you harm, you can pull out your gun and kill them. I mean, it's Castle Law. Like, you don't want to get killed, you don't mess with people. Okay. So anyway, they had to get rid of this before the Tampa Republican National Convention because Tampa's in Florida, and later it was such a problem that they actually did the Aurora shooting for that purpose. Obviously, it was a mistake putting the Republican National Convention in Tampa. They probably didn't realize that Ron Paul would have gathered such a following or something like that. But what I mean, I'm going to get it back on me. All right. What I mean here is that, where was I? Okay. Yeah, this witness who was testifying against George Zimmerman was just set up to fail. I mean, first off, it's weird enough that her name is Gentile. Her name is Gentile. Like, I don't know, maybe that's her real name. I can't, but I'm just going to remark. I'm going to vent I'm watching her testify and I'm laughing. I'm like, this is so bad. Like, are they drumming up race as an issue because they need to impeach Obama, and there's just so much psychological conditioning that it's very hard. Like, if they really wanted us to start not liking Obama, just run some. This is evidence of damage control, either damage control or the engineering of division. Because just like was mentioned before on the Jeff Rense show, is that all they have to do is just confirm the allegations of homosexuality, and then you can get rid of this president because not even the black people will defend him at that point, because that's just weird. And the people that died, so this is clearly an attempt, I think, to impeach this guy with the least amount of damage possible, because once you admit that he's gay, or I don't know, maybe this is a civil war within the power structure and they are performing psyops or something, and it's also very confusing. Let me go ahead and look a little further as to what's going on here. We are days away from major doom. Let's go ahead and look at that. Okay. It says Russia is prepping for war, U.S. is prepping for war, U.S. federal government to major free fall because scandals will consume it. The U.S. federal government is officially, really, truly insane. Yep. Scandal upon scandal upon scandal. Absolutely breathtaking scandal being revealed at lightning speed now. Gold crash, silver crash. Nothing is retaining monetary value. It's all gone to shit. Major doom is days away. Okay. Yeah. So things are definitely unraveling. Just look at Trayvon's parents. I mean, they're just not even remotely crying. And it has been a long time, over a year. But look at this girl who I don't know how they got her to do this. It was just like they chose her. They told her a directive. They told her how much they were going to pay her if she maintained the story, and knew that she would fail inevitably. That's how intelligent these people think they are. They're like, you know what? I know exactly what you're going to do. I know exactly what you're going to do. Had a nice time delay on the court case and got her to, screw up basically because they knew it was inevitable and they knew that all they had to do was just bring out the timeline of the calls and trap her in a sort of problem or whatever. Okay. Oh. All right, we got about 40 more minutes. See if there's any comments. What's the black globe on his left shoulder? Black globe? What, oh, you're talking about on that picture with Trayvon's dad? That is interesting. That is scary. Because they're all about controlling opposites. And if the Earth is one side and the black globe is... The black globe kind of looks like just an image of space. That's scary. It makes you wonder if there's some sort of extraterrestrial threat that they're contrasting Earth with, and they're pointing a camera at a certain star or something like that. I really don't know. That is weird. Thank you for bringing that up. If you're a shill tipping me off, just go ahead and tell me. Thank you. All right. So, what am I thinking about right now? Yeah, there's this massively big story with Aurora PD. Oh yeah, and then apparently there's some troop movements going on. It's actually making alternative news, and my friend, or I guess I call him friend because I've exchanged communication with him a couple times. Conservatives Prime is covering that with a ex-military guy. I'm so glad to see that he's moving up in everything. If you're watching this, throw me a comment, hombre. But Aurora, PD chief, DNA evidence destroyed. So Dan Oates is getting up there, and he's saying that the evidence is being destroyed. And I really find that odd. I think somebody left a comment saying, "Oh, if they destroyed evidence regarding James Holmes goes free." Well, they've already messed up evidence. Okay, like they've already moved a gas mask. They've already tampered with the book. And even if they were to destroy some DNA, look, it's all over the news right now. Aaron Hernandez killed somebody It was named after a Norse god. He's all happy, and the federal agents are all around him. And he lives in Boston, which we already know has to have a corrupt police department to pull off what they did. And there he is, see? Oh, yeah. This is all good. You know, I'm just going to look like a badass. I'm not going to even shed one tear when I could get the death penalty versus having $1 million lifestyle. And then they dump his body in a park, like in the field, and the reason that they thought it was him was there was like a hat. There was like a hat for the New England Patriots owned by him nearby. And then you have the ultimately suspicious, like, we need help finding this mirror that was potentially broken off. And then not only does Hernandez supposedly turn off his look, and they've only got 1 or 2 victims of the picture of this, you know, just a total like Trayvon thing. It's like, oh look, we got 1 picture of James Holmes, and then we've got, oh look, we found 3 more pictures of James Holmes, and then it's like, oh, we got 1 picture of Trayvon. He's so nice, hearing Skittles, and then we got this nasty picture of Zimmerman. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, wait, guys, we got some more pictures. And then Trayvon's all like, what's up, dog? He's shooting birds. And Zimmerman's all, I'm all in a tie. Ooh, I hate it. I hate it. It's such an insult to my intelligence. Oh, my gosh. I love how, like, I basically... Never mind. But it's because I keep doing all this stuff that people are like starting to be like, this is all a big movie or something, and I'm starting to question everything that's coming out of the news. And then, you know, the Masons are all like, ha ha ha, I helped you get smarter. And it's like, no, dude, you basically made me, you set me up in a world that made absolutely no sense, and I had to move fucking mountains in order to barely grasp what was going on. Like, I had to turn around and look at somebody I always associated with wisdom, and, you know, and I hate this because they think that it's good that they did this, and it's just not good. What you do is you inform people. All this shit that you think you're teaching us was basically taught in ancient Greece. Okay, like they moved past needing to learn by experience because it's called philosophy. Because you can actually like look within yourself and then compile your arguments in a form of dialectics that people can read and become educated. Instead, you have suppressed and taken away that education and then basically butt-fucked a bunch of children as a result of us being stupid. You're not smart. You're evil, okay? Man. I'm just so aggravated. All right. Life and death of Earth. Something I know. I think you do know. I think that's a pretty good analysis. That that was a contrast between life and death. Oh my God, that is scary. Good job. But you know what? I don't think that the Masons really control everything. And I think that they, like a lot of other groups, like the idea that that they would kill off all of humanity is not the prime objective, that they're using these cults, that they're using these New Age movements, that they're using that the Masons are just being that the Masons are under control, because you literally have to move mountains to expose things like the Holocaust. People say, oh, you know, like Zionist conspiracy theory is a setup. They're trying to make you think that Zionists are behind it. And it's like, no, you have to like go through hell itself to even come across or figure it out. Okay? I mean, I'm not trying to downplay anything, but I have people that I think or I know that are on the inside basically thinking it's Masons and, you know, or upper level Masons. And it's just like, I don't think so. I think that the Masons have been co-opted and their ideologies have been twisted, and they are not the ones behind it all. In fact, I'm actually trying to co-opt them and sort of say, your ideologies are great. They were, you know, a product of the Enlightenment period. It would be great if you guys saw how you were being manipulated by, I think, something else, which I think are the elders of Zion. That you have a more fundamental case of corruption located in the Talmud. And all you have to do is just look at the Talmud and look at the ultimate objective of some of these things like world wars, and you'll start to see that, unfortunately, it's people that believe that they're fundamentally not like the rest of humanity. In a biological, spiritual sense, and that they do not plan on killing off the entire human species, but they will not hesitate to do so in the event that they become threatened. Let me go ahead and tell you. So it would be nice to safeguard against those things. But they want to enslave us. They would rather use the advanced technological, I mean, because we're on the verge of technological slavery, if we're not already there. I mean, we are very, very close to reaching a point of no return where it will be literally technologically infeasible to oppose this power structure. And so it is of the utmost importance that we do everything we can right now to stop it, because slavery is worse than destroying the planet. Slavery is like, I mean, you'll have a bad thought about them and they'll kill you. It'll be like that Twilight Zone with that kid who wishes things away that he doesn't want. Twilight Zone is so amazing. All right, let's see, what else do we have? Do we have any more comments? That's right. Good job. That was so great. I love getting comments from people, especially during the hangout, so that I can answer questions. Oh yeah, on whether or not James Holmes will be found innocent. That's a big, or you know, he'll be like let go because of the crime scene tampering. It's a big no. Like I would want that to happen. I would be like, ha ha ha, you just made everything look really suspicious. Good job. If they let James Holmes free because there was tampering with the crime scene. And and then not only do you have the tampering with the crime scene going mainstream, but then you have everybody's paying attention to the fact that he just got off, you know, when there's all this evidence to indicate, to be honest with you, all this crafted evidence they've already crafted to try to get James Holmes set up, you know. So, I mean, will that even remotely happen? No, this is an uncontrolled, probably literally caused by me, investigation into Aurora PD. And they started destroying it 6 months ago. Well, how about the fact that that would place it at the beginning of the year, and somebody took power that they're afraid is going to come cracking down on the Aurora situation. And it could be the case. It could be the case that some people got behind the wheel that are putting into motion disclosure. I mean, it is not outside of believability. And because you have, what do you have? You have Judge Sylvester stepping down, which I will now take the time to find out the date on that one. Judge Sylvester Aurora steps down. April, January, February, March, April, May, June, July. So he stepped down in April. I'm sorry, I have to check this out real quick. So early April, Judge Sylvester stepped down. That's really odd. And then as soon as the new guy got in, he like released some records or something. The new guy is not to be trusted whatsoever. Maybe they were trying to make us think something else, or they changed the narrative, or who knows what's going on there. But there's already been documented fishy cases with Aurora PD, and now the police chief is saying, "I'm sorry." They let a patrol officer in there for some reason into the DNA lab or whatever, and then I guess who knows what did he do? Throw a basketball, and the basketball crashed into a bunch of DNA samples or something. How about there were people literally just raping people in Aurora and getting away with it and being covered up by the PD, the police department there. And of course, when you reveal that there's corruption with Dan Oates, you kind of reveal that there's possibly corruption with 9/11. Basically, I think that Aurora is strongly tied to very central nervous system components of the power structure. Oh yeah, they got some really, because that was a big deal. I mean, there was not, I mean, now there's just a massive level of violence, but at the time everything was all like, oh, we're all peaceful in Obama, and it was like crazy to see the Connie thing be a conspiracy. And then all of a sudden, because everything has to be good and peachy before the election, and then they're like, let's do Aurora, and they get their people right there in Colorado. All right, here we go, guys. You guys are corrupt. We got a bunch of dirt on you. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this shooting, and they're all having a good fucking time. And it was done super shitty. And it was even the people were like laughing about how bad it was that this dude is passing out in court. And somebody that was being interviewed by Alex Jones even laughed and was like, "It's crazy. It's scary. They don't even care to try to cover it up." And now they definitely don't try to care. Now they definitely don't care to cover it up. But at the time, it was like it was remarkable. It was like, oh my God, this is like shot to hell. So shot to hell that of all the conspiracies out there, You know, I can basically walk into that courtroom with a K, you know, or into a courtroom and be like, here, let me prove to you that this is a conspiracy. Let me prove to you this through a trajectory analysis or through the, or I could basically get them to, you know, I could basically strongly argue a case, which, sorry, I'm distracted by watching this person. I could basically argue a case to get the jury on my side, even if they pull out some, you know, because they just crafted the evidence essentially. It's so scary. But you do have to wonder how, because it was so bad, did this create some sort of intervention by the global power structure to move things in a different direction? Comments? None. Feel free to ask about anything. I may be one of the few people entertaining the idea that we are under a controlled uprising, and I'm so glad that I'm not the only one, because other people, you know, this is, you know that somebody's not controlled opposition when they rationally attack Zionism, and you've got that, I uploaded it, interview with Jeff Rense and Jay Weidner, and they see it too. They're like, what is going on here? How is Edward Snowden getting mainstream news coverage? I'm so stressed out today. I think I'm sick. I got like swollen glands. Kurt Haskell. Okay, I've got about 20 or 30 minutes left, because I don't want to look like a weirdo and have like massively long hangout videos on my channel. What is this? Let me tell you something about shills or Masons or whatever. They're going to put unnecessary spaces before their punctuation marks. Okay? And I don't know why they do that, but it's basically them telling other people on the internet in the know, hey, I'm working here. You know, maybe it's like a time bandit thing, like, don't pay attention to what I'm saying, I've got this. Or help me out, or look at what I'm doing here, or something like that. It's just weird, but recently they've been quite helpful. So maybe the direction or the directive that they're being given is like, help the conspiracy theorists out or something like that. That's very odd. Maybe it's just Masons talking to Masons, and they have a new directive or something. But you know what? The alternative media outlets, controlled opposition and not controlled opposition, but those which have been promoted, have been receiving assistance. Now you've got Alex Jones. You can watch his show for free. It's obvious that he needs it. I mean, you know, you can watch his show for free. It's promoted. You just put in Infowars.com/show, and then you can, which you'd always do, but you had to wait till it was uploaded. Yes, I just want to kiss you. And then, you know, I don't know, just a lot of alternative media has been getting supported simply because they are becoming, you know, trusted sources of news, basically, and people want to be behind them when it comes down to it. Oh my gosh. So I'm wondering how they were set up with that, how they were receiving help or assistance. But I don't know. Mm. All right, I'm sorry, I got an audience. Okay. I'm watching myself kiss my cat because there's like a delay, basically. All right. Okay. All right. I'm like hyper conscious, right? Conscience. Conscious. Okay, the voice chat has got something going on or whatever. I kind of went to that voice chat the other day, invited by Yeshua, and that was pretty fun. I'll probably do that later if you guys want to join me on the GOP voice chat. Okay, look at this. All right. Wow, a whole bunch of comments just came in. Are we hurtling toward oblivion? Dr. Richard Swinson, or toward a singularity where life and machines merge? Well, we're inevitably heading towards a singularity because that would be consistent with the theory of everything that I subscribe to, called Omega Point Theory, but that doesn't happen soon. That basically happens at the literal end of the universe. But you never know, because once you reach what they call whatever the technological thing, where your technological progress outpaces yourself. Really, all you have to do is just sort of like free up the human race and open up quantum teleportation gates to other life forms in the universe, and boom, you're basically achieving a mega point, basically, because it'll be like heaven. So it's very possible that simply freeing ourselves from this trap, and then after a few years of legitimate explosive technological progress, we'll make contact with other life forms in the universe, and we'll be essentially at a mega point because it'll be assured, basically. Um, and that's a good thing. You don't need to worry about whether we should or shouldn't merge with the machines. It's like you'll die and then you'll be resurrected, essentially, inevitably, technologically. Are we hurtling towards oblivion? In the sense that that would imply nihilism, basically. There's no point. Everything's going to die or something like that. That's what they want you to think. That's just not true. Basically, Omega Point is true. Nothing would exist if there was not some point, some sort of, basically, the universe supervenes on the end of the universe, not on the beginning. You look towards the beginning, you have nothingness. You look towards the end, you have the definition of somethingness. That's why there's stuff here. Well, the reason that there's stuff here is simply because I'll make a video on Omega Point later. But thanks for doing the live chat thing. Off topic, found this on Google Maps. I've asked a few people on YouTube. I've got no response, or I don't know. I guess I'll search those coordinates or something. My friend, search. Maybe if I go to maps and put in the coordinates. Search. I don't know how to use Google Maps. How do you have a party in space? You plan it. Very good. All right. So what else is there to talk about? We got Paul Ryan on the news right now. I'm trying to perform some facial analysis with these people. And even when I was doing that with McCain, McCain doesn't look very happy. Ryan right now doesn't actually look happy. Okay. So I really don't know what's on everybody's minds. Typically, these are not good people. So when not good people are not happy, you know, could be good. But you don't know. I mean, just because you're not a good person doesn't mean that you're. It could be good for us. It doesn't necessarily mean that it could be bad for them, bad for us too. You can't kill the idea. And let me tell you something, man. You will not, if you. What's nice about coming to know the truth and then coming to live a life of resistance to it, it will alleviate you of a fear of death. Because when you come to understand the dichotomy of good and evil, and you realize just how much help good needs against evil, and you realize that inevitably it's a struggle between like truth and not. You start to realize that there is a struggle, that there is a progress which transitions from evil to good, and you start to feel like you have meaning in life because that makes sense, because there is a correlation between there's like a million correlations that I could go through and rant about when it comes to like the meaning of life and stuff like that, but basically you're a system. I mean, if you were to break down your components, you would have subsystems. Each of those subsystems interconnect and make you as a system. Each of those themselves are subsystems. And so you extrapolate upon this and you start to realize, like, oh my gosh, basically you can come up with this theory of there's an overall system. And now systems do what? Well, systems perform functions. Essentially, a function is a later state of a system. System, function. Universe, omega point. Now you can also then derive essentially an ought from an is, which philosophers have always struggled with. How do you say what someone should do based on what is? How do you draw a valid conclusion? Conclusion to that. And what you come to find out is, if you take this teleological position entertained by Aristotle, then yeah, basically this is all extremely fringe. I mean, this is not normal stuff. I'm sure that it's been developed since then, but at the time, it's not something people knew in general. It's something I came to find out for myself. I mean, I was like on the verge of suicide. I was so stricken by the concept of like nihilism. If anyone's ever seen that movie, I mean, people deal with this. People are dealing with this now. Like, oh my gosh, I'm having a crisis of faith. What's the point? And some people get very depressed over that sort of thing, and I did. I got very depressed, and but anyway, yeah, systems theory is essentially what's going on here. So if you groove with the ultimate system, then you could say you're good. And what tends to happen is systems weed out bad things. Your body does it. If there's something that conflicts with the functionality of your body will purge it. Or, a very good system will extract from this external system something good about that system. And really, when you think about this in terms of evolution, it does become hierarchical. I know that's fringe and scary to say that. I'm not a fascist, okay? But I really do think, I mean, when you look at the lemurs or whatever, these monkey individuals who basically, as monkeys, got stranded on an island, and there was no other mammal or large species there, these monkeys, these lemurs. And so the monkeys had to take upon themselves all of the ecological niches of that island. And you got these like owl lemurs, and they have huge eyes, and they have like talon-like feet that they cling onto the trees, and they're like owls. They perform the same function as owls do at night. And you've got these cat lemurs. I hope that they're lemurs. I can't remember, and I don't want to look it up right now. These cat lemurs that have these bushy cat-like tails, and they have claws on their hands for catching rodents. And then you have rodent lemurs. And so the Star Trek, Star Trek had to justify why they had these human-like things and for all their aliens, and they justified it with, well, we just have this, we're just going to entertain this theory that everybody sort of develops in the same way. And that's basically true, at least here on Earth. When, if you are performing a certain function, if your species, if your biological makeup is performing a certain function, you will take upon yourself those necessary components, to perform your function. Why? Because you're integrating with the larger ecological role. And really, we as human beings who are capable of going off the planet, transforming the planet, deflecting asteroids, etc., are in fact integration, part of the Earth and the sun's integration, our solar system's integration with the rest of the universe. And these Illuminati people are doing a very poor job of being able of integrating with the rest of the universe. Okay? They're nasty. Look how nasty he is. So nasty. Ew. Supreme Court justice, I don't like these people. There you go, there's another one. Yeah. You can't tell what kind of, just how compromised they are and stuff like that. But, oh yeah, the Supreme Court does not function whatsoever. Oh! So anyway, what you're really seeing is the universe, the grand system, the concept of good. Call it God, call it the way of things, call it whatever. Burning within people. Coming to try to integrate our civilization with the rest of the universe. And you've got these psychopaths who, rather than just, you can redeem yourselves. I want you to know that. You won't. But you can redeem yourselves if you would resist this, but you won't. And the easiest way to resist this is to just use your brain a little bit. Stop fucking the children and stop killing them and torturing them. And even if you had to kill or torture a child or rape it, do it, but then try to do things to, just so you don't die or whatever, but try to do things to stop this, okay? Because when you become connected to the grand system, it may not even be justifiable for you to ever kill or torture a child. I mean, unless you just know it's going to happen anyway, and you feel like you could ultimately stop it. I mean, you have to play a little bit of, that's very morally ambiguous. That's very odd. I wouldn't know what to do in such a situation. And I'm obviously talking to you as though this exists, because it does. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if we win as humans. You just have to resist, and hopefully we do win. But whether or not we win, other partitions of the universe will inevitably correct whatever it is that happened over here. And those virtuous aspects will be salvaged, resurrected, whatever. And those vicious aspects will be destroyed or phase out of existence or repurposed. It will be bad, basically. In some sense, you can actually say that such people do not actually exist, because they won't exist. It's this is the kind of stuff where people remix it, and you look like a nutcase, but I suppose I should stay away from such things. I'm saying that almost as a disclaimer. But okay, it looks like I have about 5 more minutes. Such philosophical musings have been quite instrumental in I think supporting the good. So it's worth it. I didn't major in philosophy for no reason. All right. So let's see. Are there any more comments? Tony Hawk brother is Mike Hawk. So how does this Holmes kid get out of this situation with what you said? I'm going to potentially block Rosalind Tabor because this seems like a homie who is I'm going to block you. Block. No, I'm not going to block you. Rosalind, you need to tell me what your motivations are. Okay. Holmes is a Holmes is in on it, and at first you were portraying yourself as a Joe Carr fan, and now you're turning out to be a homie. So I'm not stupid, and now you're gonna not like me and stuff. But I'm not gonna put up with no homie bullshit. Holmes is in on it. I don't know what you mean. Like, is he gonna get off? Like, he's gonna get off any way that it happens. I mean, he's part of the power structure. He won't. He's off right now. I don't know where he's at, but he's off right now. Okay, and I'm just gonna block you. I don't like that shit. I have some strong suspicion I know who you are. All right. Now then, Kung Fatty. All right, guys. A few minutes left. Any comments? There's about a 5 minute. There's like a few minute delay between what I see between what you guys see, what I see with comments, and my response. So I'll be closing it down at 12:30 because I started about 30 minutes late, or whatever, something close to that. So I'll be shutting it down at 12:30. What is this? Dear Obama, we found your missing Fed notes. You do have to wonder what the hell is going to happen when they abolish the IRS. What are they saying? Are they saying, like, no more taxes? I mean, that's really odd. I really am. I'm very, very mad. Like, the American people who are politically involved really need some support, and then I hate the other majority of the American people who are just not politically involved at all. I do hate them. I do hate them. Um, um, This will clear America of all financial doom for at least the next century. All we require is Obama to issue executive orders. Please post your questions before 12:30 because I will be essentially, and then I'll answer them and then hang up. And I really appreciate my audience. All right. And after, okay, Obama, this will clear America of all financial doom for at least the next century. Anything that deals with finances or economy or whatever is usually just total bullshit. Okay? It is a totally fabricated structure that they completely control. They print out of nothing. And there is no resource motive. I mean, if there is, it's it's very extreme, and they basically have everything. There's no like need to worry about the debt and stuff like that. They're all just sort of psychological operations to get you to think a certain way. This will clear America of all financial doom for at least the next century. All we require is Obama to issue executive orders abolishing the FRA, the Federal Reserve Act, and the Electoral College. And after these orders are issued, he resigns himself. This is for the good of America. This is $30 trillion in greenbacks, real money, not digital currency, has been stolen from the taxpayers by both liberals, shells, and shills. We have found it and wish to help you, America, but first you must help yourselves and demand the change. No shit. Our problem is people just not giving a shit. Then you will be free. The decision is in your hands now, Americas. And Obama, we can provide all the proof you need. Would you like us to post the account numbers? Get back to us. Care to a debate on mainstream media and live stream? Make sure it's live with no edits, and we'll be there. Dude, Obama's so dumb. I mean, I'm sorry, like, Obama is dumb. I mean, he's smart enough, he's just smart enough to do what they want him to do, but he has no capacity to think for himself. You can reach me here on this thread only. This is your source. You have 20 pages to respond, although I know your shills are faster than that, Obama. Yours truly, the nobody and big chicken. P.S. The mouth full of dick and nose full of coke will be your downfall. That's right. I mean, that's what Obama's like. He's just positive stimulus, son of a bitch. He's just an actor. What's up, Kevin? Alright, I hate my wife. What should I do? You hate your wife? Do you have children? I'm 24 with 2 kids. You poor thing, you're 24 with 2 kids. Whoa. Okay, wow, that's really rough, dude. You're like stuck. Oh man, dude, I'm so sorry. What you're gonna have to do is... Oh yeah. What you're gonna have to do is the thing is that you're only 24, so you don't know if you hate her, and if you like leave her or whatever, you'll probably regret it. So I don't know. I wouldn't leave her. Sometimes girls are okay with you cheating on them, and the thing is that what you risk is her potentially thinking it's okay for her to cheat on you or whatever. But I don't know the details of what you're going through. It really sucks. I mean, you got to look out for the kids. You got to do it for the kids, okay? You got to think about the kids. So don't kill her or anything. Don't necessarily cheat on her either, but I mean, sometimes they are, like, if that's what's causing you to hate her, is that you feel like you could get something better or whatever, like, I'll be honest, like, sometimes kind of like they'll do what it takes to keep you, and they're not so, like, messed up by a guy cheating. And the reason being is that when women cheat, then you're stuck with some other. You're literally devoting your life to somebody else's kid. You're devoting your life to somebody else's DNA. But when men cheat, it's kind of like you're, just in the biological sense, you're basically dumping your DNA in somebody else's hands. So that's why there's a dichotomy or a difference between whether or not men or women can cheat. There's like where just biologically, males are naturally polygamous. Is that the right word? I'm not saying I do that or I'm prone to that. I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, like, you have to tell me like how much she. You have to tell me like how much she deep down really is trying to keep you or like manipulate you or whatever. All right. And then sometimes if you just get away with cheating, you're better off. But don't ruin your relationship with her in the sense of like isolating your kids or breaking your kid. Like if your kids are, it sounds like you've got some really young kids if you're 24. So you got to try to keep that going or whatever, and don't ruin your wife's thing. You got to you basically have to compensate if you're going to do something like that, because all she really cares about is her children and her future. And what's shot about this is that you're basically a slave in the same system that I am. And I personally would not bring a child, no offense, but I would not want to bring a child into this world. And that's essentially what your problem is. So keep fighting the New World Order and take care of your children. Let's see. What's my... Well, it's my first Google chat, and I appreciate your point of view. Dixon Coder, Dixon Cider. If they abolish IRS, then who enforces Obamacare? Will a singularity happen, in your opinion? One that will make them obsolete? Oh, that's very good. They like a singularity, like, okay, if Google successfully does their Project Loon and successfully distributes quantum computing to everybody, and that is a legitimate voting system and a legitimate communication system, and to be honest with you, this could be the result of a faction which is opposed to the powers that be, which has been communicating with quantum communications, because quantum communications is technically like the most secure way of communicating. This is why you can understand that humans are naturally where the buck stops. Every individual human is sovereign and naturally divine or whatever, in control of their own lives, because once the quantum computing gets developed, that is essentially your ability as an object which is being stimulated by the universe to act independently. And so any sort of encroachment upon that, specifically what's going on with the Illuminati, is in fact evil, because then you're literally being enslaved. Anyway, quantum computing is important because then you're able to, you have a legitimate voting system. You possibly have a legitimate form of digital currency at that point. I don't know, but maybe because of the way quantum computing works. When I say quantum computing, I'm actually talking about quantum communications. You have instantaneous communications. Okay, like you can't stop it. You have something triggered, you go boop, all of a sudden your information is being broadcast to other people with the quantum communications. You could literally, at that point, do things like get on camera bombshell stuff, and it will actually be bombshell. You would not be able to suppress it. They will not be able to internet kill switch it. They will, I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. This doesn't mean I promote it or I would do it, but you know that there's somebody who's corrupt. You go in there, you break down their door, and you just like, first you just grab him by the collar and you just start snatching him around, and you throw them down, you start whooping their ass, and then you pull out that camera and you go, I know what you did. You start fucking talking right now, and you've got that shit just streaming. Quantum communications. There's no way to interrupt it. There's no there's no medium. It's literally a qubit, which is interacting with other entangled qubits, and it's being recorded. I mean, like, you don't understand. Quantum computing is how we get out of this. And Google seems to be under attack because it is putting quantum computing out there. Anyway, let me go ahead and continue with my fantasy right now. So then you're beating this dude's face in, and he's screaming, okay, okay, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. And then he starts talking, and he just lays it all out. And that would be just a lovely experience. And then you can do whatever you want to him or whatever. But then that information goes out because everybody else has quantum computers. And it was totally justified. And the cabal is bye-bye. Okay? Now, there's obviously problems with, like, they have nuclear bombs and chemical weapons and stuff like that. But, you know, theoretically, you would need to use, you would need to be a little bit less brash. You'd have to diffuse those situations first. All right. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. I'll close it up.